PSA, vagina is not a bad word. Penis is not a bad word. We have so many euphemisms for vagina. It's ridiculous. Purse, pearl, lady garden, pocketbook. We can go on and on. But euphemisms are created because the word is deemed too harsh. So what message are we sending if we're telling our kids that their vagina or their penis is too harsh? Think about it. And then on top of that, we need to send very clear messages, not confusion. Imagine a kid coming to their mother and trying to explain that someone touched their pocketbook. Are you going to know what they mean? I teach my son that this is your penis, not your pee-pee. There's nothing to be ashamed of. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Stacey Liz, with Baggage at the Door. Today, I want to talk about something a little different. Because of all of these headlines that have been coming out, Raz-b versus Stokes and the rape allegations, and even Ravi Zacharias, the evangelist, who I personally listen to faithfully every single day. I listened to his lectures. It's been found that there were dozens of women who were sexually abused by Ravi. And so with that being said, I wanted to come and make a video about different reasons why people don't always share that they've been sexually abused, why they keep it a secret for years and years and years, and sometimes even taking it to their grave. So let's jump right in. The first thing I want to talk about, number one, is shame and blame. It speaks for itself. Everyone is not always in a rush to talk about trauma and experiences in general, especially something like this. They're embarrassed. They don't want to talk about it. They rather just throw it in the back of their minds as if it never happened. It's actually a coping mechanism. On top of that, talking about the experience makes it real. It solidifies the fact that it actually happened. And with that can come some shame. And unfortunately, society has not been supportive of victims of sexual abuse when it comes to stepping forward. For example, years ago, Raz-b came forward and talked about how Stokes raped him over and over, his own cousin. And what was the reaction? Raz-b was clowned. He was ridiculed. There were memes created laughing at him. He was labeled gay. To be honest, his entire reputation was tainted, all because he was bold enough to speak out. Then on top of that, people came for him heavy. They said that he was crazy. They said he was bipolar. They did everything that they could to basically make his reputation one that is so scarred that people would not believe the allegations. I'm really happy that years have passed and he is speaking out again. Listen, we have to stop silencing people, okay? Stop silencing people. Raz-b, you are bold. Anyone that comes forward and shares their story, do not be ashamed. You are bold, and I pray that you can find support, and I'm so happy that Raz-b is finding that support. A lot of times, especially young women, we're told, well, of course he touched you. Look what you're wearing. Of course he touched you. Look, you're out in the club. You're out at these hours of the night. What did you expect to happen? That type of talk has to stop. We have to stop blaming people and excusing predators. We have to stop doing that. It does not encourage an environment for people to speak out. Number two, some people don't even realize that they've been sexually abused. Particularly young men do not realize that when they were 7 and their mom's best friend snuck in their room and forced them to do acts, just because she's a woman and you were male doesn't change the fact that you were taken advantage of. Literally, there have been moments where people are telling their stories casually, talking about young men, talking about what the babysitter did to them. And in that moment, they realize, wait a minute, that was rape. Yes, you were raped. Just because you're a man, a boy, does not mean that it was not rape. A lot of people just don't realize it. And on top of that, as crazy as it sounds, for some people, this is such regular behavior in their lives. It happened to their mom, it happened to their sister. And so when it happens to them, they just think it's normal. And that's sad. Number 3, a lot of people don't even bother speaking up because they're convinced that no one will believe them anyway. What's the point? No one's gonna believe that everyone's favorite preacher sexually abused me. No one's gonna believe that everyone's favorite teacher or the dad who appears to be the dad of the year or the mom of the year, they don't even bother speaking up. Look at Ravi Zacharias. This is somebody who literally traveled the world for decades, sat next to the who's who in the world, was paid to preach, did countless lectures, had his own radio show, had so many followers. And all the while, this man was raping women, getting massages, and forcing the ladies to perform sexual acts on him, making people watch him touch himself. Imagine being a young lady where and now late, the Ravi Zacharias is sexually abusing them. And then you turn on your radio and he's preaching. Can you understand why someone might say, you know what, no one's going to believe me, so I'm just going to stay silent? Speaking of that, there's a lot of parents and women out there, moms who are out there, who are still believing their crusty boyfriends over their own children. Your daughter is coming to you and telling you that she's being touched, and you're telling her that she's lying. That has to stop. Stop believing other people over your own flesh and blood. Number 4, a lot of people stay silent because they don't want to change the status quo. And what I mean by that is, say for instance, every week you and the entire family goes out to eat or visit someone's house on a weekly basis. Well, if someone's there that is touching you, but you still want to enjoy the family traditions, you might not say anything. I can personally speak to this reason. From grade 3 to grade 7, I was sexually assaulted by the same person. I did not say anything. Till this day, my mom does not know. Like most people in elementary school, sleepovers was a common thing. My friend and I were more like sisters, and so I was constantly at her house. Well, one night, as I'm asleep, I feel a hand rubbing up my leg, and it obviously woke me out of my sleep, and to my surprise, I found her uncle touching me. And the first time it happened, I was just confused. This is somebody who I considered to be an uncle to me because I was so close with the family. And I fought him off. and told him no. And again, I'm in 3rd grade telling a grown man, this is not a teenager, this is a grown man, to stop. And it kept happening. Time and time again, I would wake up out of my sleep and he would be touching me, and I would fight him off. He didn't live with the family, but he would make it a point to try to be there when I spent the night. This happened for years. This happened from 3rd grade all the way up until 7th grade. I never said anything. I didn't even tell my friend until 2 decades later. And she was in complete shock that this was happening to me. And she hurt for me that I kept it in all of these years. And she just apologized. She apologized. It really hurt her. She was pissed. Till this day, she's pissed at her uncle. I didn't say anything because I did not want to no longer be allowed to go to her house. This is my best friend. This is like my sister. I knew that if I said something to any adult, they would not allow me to play with my best friend. So I chose to stay silent. I chose to handle it on my own. And this person who was doing this was so manipulative that it got to the point where typically I would already be with my friend at school, so I would just go home with her. But on those times where I was at home, he would volunteer to come pick me up. So imagine me, I'm excited to see my friend, and I'm thinking that it's her mother coming to pick me up. When I look outside, it's him. He's told her, oh no, I'll pick up Stacy. I remember one time I saw him pulling up to my mom's house, and I got in the car, and he didn't skip a beat. Immediately, he told me, and he knew that my family was not well off financially. He knew that we were struggling and we were poor, and he used that. He told me if I would sleep with him, he would pay my mom's rent. This is a sick individual using that to persuade me. I thank God that I knew right from wrong. And I thank God that he did not use an increased level of physical strength to overpower me. I was able to fight him off of me again and again. But I never said anything because I loved my friend. I did not want to stop seeing her. Eventually, it came out that he was doing this to dozens of other young ladies. So it wasn't just me. This was something common for him. And while I'm on this subject, a lot of people are sick in the head. They are sick and they pray after young girls. There are people who y'all value in your family. There are other people's family members that have done and tried to do similar things to me. This is a huge reason why my son won't be spending the night at anyone's house. If you want a sleepover, bring your friends to the crib and I'll make it the fun crib, okay? I'll give y'all all the food, that y'all want. All the movies, you name it, is yours. But I'm not allowing my son to spend the night at other people's homes. If mommy can't spend the night with you, it's not happening. Because it's the preachers, the teachers, the uncles, the moms, the aunties, the baby sisters, the babysitters. They're all, you cannot trust anyone. You can't trust your own family members. You can't. Sexual predator does not have a face. It can come in any type of form or person. And I myself know that for a fact. Number 5 goes right along with number 4. Number 5 is people stay silent because they want to protect others. Something happens when you're sexually abused. You subconsciously start to believe that you don't deserve to be protected. And so a lot of times protection is displaced. For example, if your mom's brother is touching you inappropriately, you want to protect your mom because if I tell her that, then she could be sad. It could hurt her feelings, that her own brother would do this. Or perhaps manipulation has been used and the person doing the abuse has said, please don't tell on me. Like, I'm changing, I'm this, I'm that. It's all manipulation. I want to say to anyone that is trying to protect another individual that you deserve to be protected. You deserve to be protected. Tell your story. And tell it until you find someone who believes you. Number 6 is threats. A lot of times these sick people use threats to silence their victims. They say, well, if you say something, then I'm going to harm your mom or your sister, or I'm going to do this to your sister, or they use threats. And because the victims care about other individuals and don't want harm to come their way, the way it's coming to their own way, they stay silent. They're afraid that something else could happen to their loved one, so they're silenced. Predators use manipulation to silence their victims. They tell you that it's your fault. They tell you that they didn't mean to. They try to persuade you. They try to offer you money. They tell you that no one's gonna believe you. It's all manipulation. And so my hopes in making this video is that we'll start to create an environment that supports victims, that supports survivors, so that more people can step up and tell their story. Because 9 times out of 10, it's not just you. It's not just you that person is touching. We need to make changes. We need to make changes in our culture that supports survivors, that supports stepping forward and telling your story. We need to stop shaming men that are sexually abused. We need to stop labeling them when people come up and tell their story. Anyone who has gone through this, I am giving you virtual love right now. My prayer is that you are healed. My prayer is that you boldly tell your story, that you value yourself again, and that justice could happen in whatever form justice looks like. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'll leave some links below for help. Until next time, with baggage at the door, and I'm out.